you think about it, and I think you will come to the conclusion that we're in a great time of spiritual warfare, and it's the forces of good and the forces of evil. And this country has always been it's the New Jerusalem, right? It was put together by a collection of individuals that allowed people the refuge of the world to become to reach their better selves, right? That vessel is that we have a moral obligation. It's been passed down for what, 12 or 13 generations on every battlefield in the world.
So, if you're like me, you know a fair amount about Steve Bannon, how influential he was in the rise of Trump and Trumpism, how for years he's been known as the far-right political whisperer, how he was a Hollywood producer for years before dipping his toe in politics. But what I didn't know is that he's a so-called Christian who deeply cares about issues of faith facing the nation. And why I didn't know about all that is probably because he really started doing it earnestly like 5 minutes ago as his new political grift. I did some digging into his claims of his Christianity, and all I could find is when he weaponizes it to push a far-right political agenda. Nothing about what church he goes to, his spiritual life, what denomination he belongs to, nothing like that. This clip is so wild to me, him talking about spiritual warfare and the New Jerusalem, because they're things a few years ago you would never have heard outside of an evangelical church. But here they are now, loud and clear from the right's most notorious figure. And it's never been more dire that we call out the growing language of Christian nationalism that is poised to completely take over the Republican Party. So unlike a Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, what's scary about Bannon is that he's smart. And although he obviously just adopted this language recently, he has done his homework. In the clip, he ties the historical traditions of Jerusalem as a symbol of a holy Christian nation to the United States. And again, unlike people like Greene who are just so dumb that you can't take her blubbering seriously, Bannon has this cool, articulate tone that people very easily will fall prey to. Smart people. So what is this concept of a New Jerusalem exactly, and why should we be worried about it? The New Jerusalem is a prophetic symbol from the book of Ezekiel that centers around a holy city which is to be the capital of the Messianic kingdom. It's largely a symbolic concept though, but conservative and Orthodox Christians and Jews over century have weaponized it to be a literal place on earth. But most Judeo-Christians see it as a perpetually future place to strive for in our lives. Even the Catholic Church sees the New Jerusalem as a spiritual outpost akin to heaven, i.e. it's not on earth and never will be. When people like Bannon weaponize this concept to sound like theologians, they're sowing an incredibly dangerous thread linking the fabric of Christian nationalism to American politics. And we see here how much he knows that this is like candy to the religious right. I've been covering the rise in Christian nationalism from firebrands in Congress and influencers on TikTok, but hearing these words from Bannon's mouth is proof that this is the next strategy of the right, and its danger cannot be overstated. This man is regarded to have basically won Trump the presidency, and we cannot underestimate the power that he still has in politics. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.